lovely Monday night yogis. Nice to have you with me again on the virtual mat. I hope you're all well and enjoying the wonderful sunshine we're having. I know some of you will have gone back to work, kids will have gone back to school, so here we are in a state of flux a little bit again, safe in the cocoon that we were kind of in this strange way in lockdown. So I'm sure some of your anxiety levels, some of the tensions creeping up into the shoulders, so we'll be working on that this evening, and hopefully a nice relaxing and releasing practice for you to kind of sort the head out, sort the body out, and sort the breath out. Okay, so as always, if you are pregnant, you are quite welcome to join this practice. It's for you as well as postnatal, but if bump is getting in the way, move your leg a little bit wider so you get a bit more space, or your arm a little bit wider, and you can relax on your left hand side rather than on your back in shavasana. Okay, all right, so we will come to start in child's pose this evening. So when you're ready, knees as wide as you want them to be this evening, just finding a little softness for your hips. So if that means your knees are nice and wide, then great. If that means that you need to narrow them a little bit because they're feeling a little bit tight around the edges, then that's fine too. Just draw the toes together, the heels a little wider, and then just gently wriggle the hips from left to right. Elbows out wider, maybe bringing the hands underneath the forehead, depending on how wide the legs are. And then take a nice big breath in, exhale out through the mouth. And then close the eyes down. As always, as we make our way to the mat, just taking a moment to acknowledge our body. Going to come out of child's pose so you can hear me, but just taking this time to center your awareness on different parts of the body. So we're going to walk through from the toes to the knees. How does this feel for your calf muscles? Perhaps you've been running in this lovely weather, perhaps they're feeling a little bit tight. How about that space around the edge of your kneecaps, through the thighs, around the hips? Again, acknowledging the tight space around your low back, middle back. Certainly if you're a new mum, that may be feeling quite tight. And again, the shoulders. Again, with this, all this changing that's going on and nobody's quite sure what's going on, we're feeling that tension around the shoulder line. I know I am, and I'm sure you guys are too. So being kind to that space around your shoulders. As we rest in child's pose, I just want you to give yourself a nice gentle shoulder roll up, back and down. Nice gentle shoulder roll up, back and down. Just a few of those to see how that feels. And then still with your head low, but just lift it up about an inch off the floor to gently rock your head from left to right. So really super slow, still with eyes closed. Just allowing that space around the back of the neck to release a little. And then we're going to come back down to bring the forehead onto either the mat or your hands or a block. And start to bring your awareness to your breath. So again, as we rest here and breathe, notice any constriction of breath. I'm suffering from a little bit of hay fever today, and I'm sure the pollen count is quite high. So if that's affecting you, as always, take a moment to acknowledge that. If one side is feeling a little bit blocked, if the end of your breath is feeling a little tight, a little tired, and just allow the body to rest so that we can increase that flow of breath. And take a moment just to acknowledge the fact that you're actually on your yoga mat tonight, and hopefully by the end of this practice you'll be breathing a little deeper. Your body will be a little bit more open and have a little bit more space to breathe. Take a little smile to that, and a nice big breath into the center of the back of your heart. Big sigh out. And as always, while we're here, We make a promise to ourselves to practice with openness and honesty for our body, never forcing, never overstretching, being kind. And then very slowly we're going to make our way up onto all fours with a heavy head, heavy shoulders, just very slowly making your way up onto all fours, blinking eyelids open, raising gaze, and just gently again swinging the hips from left to right, just seeing how that feels for the body. Perhaps if you have found it a little bit tight on the calf muscles, you might want to give yourself a little stretch out through each leg, just nice and open through the back of the heel too. And then we're going to come to moving from side to side. So making sure that you're nice and fluid through your movement, that your hands are nice and open and that you're supporting your body. So maybe a little bit wider than hip width apart with the knees, but if you're a little bit wider than shoulder width apart with your hands, just see how that feels. And then we're going to take those swaying movements into rolls. So this is super good if you're pregnant too. So taking gentle barrel rolls, so you're going across, up and down. So rather than forward and backwards like cat-cow, we're rounding up and down, making it as nice and fluid as you can around the hips, around the shoulders. Again, it doesn't have to be a perfect circle, just finding an organic stretch here, seeing how that feels for the shoulders, really lifting up through that space in the back of the shoulders, maybe even tucking the head to get a nice neck extension. And then very slowly changing direction, and we're going to come the other way. Don't worry if you've kind of done a few one way and a few the other way, just making sure that you've got roughly an even amount on both sides. So nice long expansive breaths. Again, see how that feels for your shoulder line. Big lifts, nice soft stretches. And then come back into the center. Nice big breath in. As you exhale through the mouth, push the floor away. On your inhale breath, squeeze your elbows, arch your spine, look up. Give yourself a little wiggle from left to right here. So keep breathing, shoulders moving backwards and forwards, hips moving side to side, squeezing that space around the lower back as well as that space in the middle of the shoulder blades. Again, just notice how that feels. And then on your exhale breath, we're going to do the same thing but in our rounded cat. So exhale, push the floor away, lift the spine, lengthen it all the way out, tuck the head, and then a gentle shimmy from left to right, lifting one shoulder and dropping the other, lifting one hip, dropping the other. And then coming back to the center. So using your own breath pattern, you're going to use your inhales to come forward and open, squeezing elbows, elbows turning to face the front. And as you exhale, you're going to push the floor away. So don't worry if you're not with my length of breath. You're just going to use your inhale to open your chest and arch your spine. And your exhale to round your back. Inhale breath to open the chest. And again, that exhale breath to lengthen your tailbone, the space in between your shoulder blades. Nice and long and even through that breath pattern as much as possible if you can. So last one here. And then exhale. So just making your way back down onto your heels, you're probably feeling a little bit tired around the wrist, so we're just going to roll the wrist, so super slowly, just to release any tension. And then from here, we're going to come onto your left elbow. I'm going to take that right hand forward slightly. So you're going to kind of elongate that right arm, pushing down through your left elbow. Make sure it's roughly underneath your left shoulder. And then as you exhale, you're going to take the hips towards the back right corner of your mat as you walk the right hand over towards the top left corner of your mat. So you're moving the hips into that back right corner. You're lifting that right arm up and over towards the top left corner. Breathing deeply into that stretch underneath the arm, but also around the back of that right glute too. Again, if you've been running, I'm sure that feels quite nice. And if you've been holding tension in your shoulders, I'm sure that feels quite nice too. So one more big breath in and out. And then take that hand back towards the top right corner of your mat. And you're going to take the hips back into the center as you lift the right leg and push down through that right set of toes. So we're going to create that really big calf stretch by pushing through the heel of that right hand and down through that left elbow. Tuck the head to look towards the right toes so we get that nice long upper back too. Stretching out through the shoulder. If you can, tuck the tailbone a little, hug in through pelvic floor. So big breath in and out. And then from here we're going to lift the body weight back into the center line. So make sure you've got perfect balance before we do anything else. And don't worry if you just want to turn the right foot towards the big toe side of the foot onto the floor. So we'll all start off with that right big toe side of the foot on the floor. And if you want to, the chance is to elevate that foot up. So pushing away through the heel, lifting and opening through the outer edge of that point, but keeping it roughly in line with your left hip. So we're really pushing that right heel up. Push down through your left elbow to draw back through both shoulders. Big breath in and out here. One more inhale. And then as you exhale, bring the right knee over towards the right shoulder. Again, don't worry if your right foot is on the floor, just bend the right knee down towards the floor so you get to still get a nice outer edge of the hip stretch. Inhale breath, you're going to kick it away, lengthen through the whole of that back of the leg, and then exhale over to the right shoulder. Last one, big breath in, lift, and then exhale over to the right shoulder. So again, don't worry if your right leg is down, but we're going to lift it now and creep that right foot forward, or just place it down if you had it up. So come up off that left elbow and bring both hands into the center for a moment. Again, if you are in your third trimester, certainly stay with your hands or fingertips on the floor, maybe even propping yourself up a little higher. Or if you're feeling super tired or tight around your hips, then maybe stay with the hands on the floor. If not, you're going to take your right hand onto your right thigh and your left hand onto your waist and lift up in the center line. So we're all going to do the same action of pushing the hips forward and pulling the hips back, but again, to whether you're up or down, it depends on how you're feeling this evening. You can always bring your hands down onto the floor if it's too much to be upright. So we're all going to start off in the center, nice and tall, lifting through the crown of the head. And then as you exhale, the hips are what's moving. So your hips are going to move forward, chest is still lifting. As you exhale, you're going to squeeze the pelvic floor, hug the thighs together, and shift the hips beyond the kneecap line. Right toes lift. Again, if you're on the floor, it looks like this. Inhale to open, and exhale to draw the hips back. Again, wherever we are, nice and open through the chest as you come forward, shoulders back, and as you exhale, squeezing through that center line and shifting hips back. If you're on that upward swing, you can always move the arms forward too, add those in, and then as you exhale, move the arms back, shifting hips back. Be careful with balance. Inhale to bring the arms forward, shifting hips forward, shoulders down, and then exhale, lifting that right set of toes, shifting hips back. Again, if you've been running, hopefully this feels quite good. Inhale, shoulders down. Exhale, shifting hips. Inhale, lifting, shoulders down. And then exhale, shifting back. Last one, inhale. And then exhale. So coming back to a neutral here, bring your hands down onto the floor if they're not already. Bring your right kneecap back and sway the hips from left to right. Again, just to ease any tension out through that right side before we come on to the left side. So I'm going to turn around the other way actually so you can see what's going on. And then we're going to bring that right elbow down onto the floor, underneath the right shoulder. Left hand is going to come forward. Left foot is going to come towards the back edge of the mat. Make sure you've got your hand and your foot on the yoga mat. Hopefully you can reach. And then from here, as you inhale, lift your chest. As you exhale, push through the heel of that left hand and come into that left heel. So you open up through the back of that left calf muscle, tuck the tailbone, pushing down through that right elbow so you get that really full stretch here. So nice big breath in and out. And then drop the knee, bring that hand over towards the right top edge as you drop the hips over towards the bottom left edge. So again, you're going to get that nice big stretch all the way down that left side body. Breathing into that stretch, into all of that space that you're creating underneath the left shoulder blade, around the rib cage, around the hip and the glute. And then bring that hand back towards the top left corner as you kick that left foot away. Again, maybe you stay with your left heel on the floor, left big toe side of the foot on the floor, or maybe you come all the way up and kick that foot away. Find length to that stretch though, wherever you are. So again, you can roll into the little toe side of that foot if you have the foot on the floor. Opening up through the chest. Kicking the heel away, turning the toes out towards that left side. Try not to sink into your right shoulder. Big breath in. And as you exhale, left elbow over towards that left shoulder. So left knee over towards your left shoulder. That sounds good. That would be good. And then as you inhale, kick that heel away, lifting up. Exhale, left knee towards that left shoulder. Inhale to kick it up and away. And then exhale, left knee towards that left shoulder. And then foot comes all the way down. Again, don't worry if you've had that foot on the floor, just snuggle the foot forward. And then we're going to start off with those hands on the floor, shoulders open, nice and long through the chest. Again, just see how you feel here. Maybe you want to stay on your fingertips or on your palms, or you can bring the left hand onto the thigh as you bring the right hand onto the waist. So we're starting off with a nice tall body, shoulders down. Big breath in, big sigh out. And as you inhale, lifting the hips forward, opening up through that thigh. And as you exhale, squeezing the pelvic floor, lifting that left set of toes back. Chest comes forward. Inhale, breath, lifting. And then exhale, breath, pulling back. Again, maybe you want to use the arms. Inhale, forward, shoulders down. Exhale, sweeping back. Heart forward. Inhale, coming forward. Exhale, moving the hips back. Again, it's about the hips to open up those legs. Inhale. Exhale. Excuse me. Inhale. And exhale. And then place those hands, that left foot onto the floor if you haven't already. And then left knee comes back. Again, that gentle sway from left to right. Just to release any tension through your hips. And then we're going to bring those thumbs together, palms open wide as you take your right foot to the outer edge of the mat. Left foot to the outer edge of the mat. And then a gentle sway from left to right. Again, through those hips, just lifting up alternate toes, shifting weight from left to right. And then as you inhale, lift up halfway, opening up the chest, shoulders come back, and as you exhale, bend your knees and fold. So just take a moment to grab hold of alternative elbows and give yourself a little bounce here. Maybe sometimes if you're in your third trimester it doesn't feel so good to bring your head below your heart, in which case just bring your elbows up onto your knees. Just breathing gently here. And then just let those hands fall and bring your left elbow up onto that left thigh. So you're slightly bending through the knees, and then from here you're going to sweep your right arm all the way up and open to bring your right hand into the sacrum. So you're seeing if you can lengthen your tailbone towards the back edge of your mat, push down through your left elbow to open up through your right shoulder. So you're really pulling back through that right shoulder, lifting that right elbow behind you. Get a nice big breath in and out, opening up the chest, finding a push down and back through the shoulder. And then as you inhale, lift that right arm all the way up, forward, and the right elbow then comes onto that right knee. Inhale, lifting left arm all the way up and back, left hand into sacrum, rolling left shoulder up, back and down, pushing down through right elbow, lifting into that left side of the chest. Again, a really big, long, super breaths here, rolling that left shoulder back, expanding the center of the body. And then as you inhale, lift that left arm all the way up, find that stretch of the rotator cuff, and then left elbow onto the knee again. Rolling shoulder up, back and down. Allow the head to fall, and then you're going to tuck the tailbone under as you roll up super slow, super steady. Reset with the shoulder roll up, back and down. So just place your hands onto your waist, shifting from left to right for a moment. And just finding your balance, finding your feet as it were, as it very much were. And then planting that left foot in, so wriggling the toes, opening up through the ball of that left foot. As you take the right foot back, you're going to stay up into a lunge position today. So maybe you don't want to be so wide, maybe you want to be a little bit narrower, but lower of centre of gravity is often a better one for balance, but just bear that in mind. Left hip pulls back towards the back of the room, rolling shoulders up, back and down to settle the body. And as you exhale, we're going to bend that right knee. So exhaling, bending right knee down towards the floor. Inhale, squeeze the thighs and straighten your right leg. Exhale, bending right knee. Inhale, straighten right leg. Exhale, bending right knee. Inhale, straighten right leg. Another one of those. Exhale, bending that right knee. Inhale, straightening that right leg. And then as you exhale, we're going to hinge from those hips and lean forward. So we're pushing forward through both hips. Shoulders are coming down the back body, and we're nice and long through the back of that right leg. Big breath in and out. If you want to take an extra twist, right hand onto your left leg, and then roll that left shoulder up, back and down. Again, we're still leaning into that stretch, pulling left hip back, softening shoulders. And then very slowly twisting back to the front if you're not already there. Take your right heel down into warrior one. Inhale up through the arms. Exhale, cactus those arms out nice and wide, bringing the elbows to shoulder height, opening the chest. So you're laying back into that stretch, but we're still lifting up through the rib cage to avoid any lower back issues. And then from here, we're going to round your back by bringing the elbows into the center. So as you exhale, draw the elbows in, but feel that back opening up. Head can look down towards the left kneecap. Inhale to open the chest, rolling shoulders up, back and down, squeezing shoulder blades into cactus. And then exhale, elbows come in, rounding your back. Two more. Inhale to open the chest. And then exhale, round it out. Last one. Inhale to open the chest. exhale to round it out. And then we're going to sweep the arms underneath and open into warrior two. So from here, generally the legs are in the wrong position. So we need to heel toe that left foot into the center line so we can have a nice open set of hips. Gazing towards that left middle finger, nice big breath in. As you exhale, settle down into those hips. Full stretch out into the right little toe side of that foot to work the right thigh. Shoulders down your back. Long breaths here. And that nice expansive breath opening up through the chest. Softening down through the thighs. And then left elbow onto that left thigh as you cartwheel the right arm, up and over the head. So in side angle stretch, we're trying to push down through that left elbow to lift the chest and stretch out through that right side even further, reaching right fingertips over the head. On your next inhale, looking underneath that top arm, moving it even further back to open up that right side even further. And then as you exhale, bring that right arm and the right shoulder all the way down, placing your hand onto the floor. So if you do have a big bump, you need to heel toe your left foot out of the way slightly. If not, then you can just bring your left hand down onto the floor and come into our lunge with the knee in the middle. If not, bring the knee out to the left side. So lifting chest, shoulders come back, hips dropping into the line of our runner's lunge. Big breath in. Big sigh out. One more big breath in. Exhale it out. And then from here, you can either step your way back into child's pose, or you can plant your hands and step your way back into downward dog. So if you're in child's pose, you can always extend the arms out forward to open up the shoulders like we would do in a downward dog. So lifting the hips back and up. Again, if you're in downward dog, a gentle sway left to right. Nice and long through upper body. Releasing and relaxing through the neck. Maybe a look from left to right to really soften out the space around the neck. Fingertips wide. Palms pushing through the mat. Opening up through the back. And then from here, we're going to walk our way up to the front of the mat. So again, as you get towards the front of the mat, paddling the feet. Again, don't worry if you want to just make your way up to the top of the mat if you're heavily pregnant. Feet nice and wide. Inhale up halfway, lifting chest, shoulders back. Exhale, bend the knees and fold. And then we're going to roll up with our heavy head, tucking tailbone, bending through the knees, slowly does it. Rolling shoulders up, back and down. Again, hands onto the waist, gently swaying from left to right. Wriggling the toes on that right foot as you bring the left foot back. Again, we're staying up into our high lunge. So think about your right hip pulling its way back to make sure that you maintain the hips pointing towards the front, shoulders pointing towards the front. Opening out through the back of that left leg, big breath in, nice and high with the torso. As you exhale, left kneecap bends down towards the floor. Inhale, straighten left leg, leave the right leg bent, still pulling right hip back. Exhale, left knee bends. Inhale, left leg straightens. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. And inhale, nice and open. Last one, exhale. And inhale again, still pulling that right hip back. We're going to lean into that stretch. So take your hips with you, so you're not just dropping your chest. Hips come forward to shoulders back into their sockets. Pulling away through that left heel to find length through the back of the leg. Again, if you want to take it a little further, left hand onto that right thigh. Rolling the right shoulder up, back and down into our twist. Still pulling open through the back of that left kneecap, strong through left leg. So one more big breath in and out here. And then as you inhale, lifting back into center. Exhale, left heel comes down for a warrior one. Again, make sure that you're pushing through the whole of that left foot so that the hips are facing the front. Inhale, arms come up. And then exhale again, cactus the arms. Shoulders are squeezing the rig back and together, opening up through the chest, maybe even raising the gaze if it feels okay, but still lifting the back of the rib cage to avoid that crumpling of the lower back. Big breath in here. And as you exhale, rounding the back, elbows come towards each other, head looks towards the right toes. Inhale to open the chest, rolling the shoulders back and down. Exhale to round it out. Inhale to lift and open. Exhale, rounding it out. Again, inhale to roll it open, extending all the way up and back and down. Exhale, rounding it out. Inhale to open the arms underneath into our warrior two. Heel toe that right foot into the center, making sure hips are open. Shoulders are softening their way down the back as you soften into that stretch into the hips. Get a nice big reach forwards and backwards through those arms, finding length to your breath here, finding stability to your position. Hatha yoga is about breathing into our positions, so taking your time here to find that full extension of breath. And then right arm onto right knee, cartwheeling left arm up and over the head and pushing down through that right elbow to pull your right shoulder back and give you that really nice big stretch down the left side body. Still pushing into the little toe side of the left foot. And then that top arm, starting with the shoulder, comes all the way back as you turn the gaze towards the ceiling for a moment to really open up through that side. And then as you exhale, reach forward and down. Again, don't worry if you need to shuffle that foot out of the way so you've got space for your bump. Pull onto the ball of that left foot, lifting up onto fingertips, shoulders down, pushing away through the heel of that left foot. Again, nice big breaths here into our runner's lunge. Opening up the collarbones, relaxing the forehead. One more big breath in and out. And then gently, again, either stepping back into child's pose or extended child's pose or into downward dog. A gentle sway of those hips, a paddle of the feet. So long extended breaths here. Again, nice and open through the upper back, through the shoulder line. And then when you're ready, coming down onto your knees, untucking the toes for child's pose. But we're going to come into a hand variation. So we're going to either clasp the hands together or bring them into prayer behind the back of the neck. So as you do that, you'll want to wriggle your elbows or walk your elbows forward and pull your tailbone down so that you find length underneath the armpits, around the triceps. Again, you can have your knees as wide as you like. So one more big breath in with the arms up. And then as you exhale, just let them open out with the palms facing the ceiling. See if you can roll the thumbs down towards the floor, palms facing up. And then gently turn those palms back to face the floor. Big breath huge sigh out. And then you're going to slide those hands back, rolling up. Heavy head, heavy shoulders, as always, one vertebra at a time. Rolling the shoulders up, back and down to reset, and then sitting down onto the mat as you swing your legs around. So just come to around about halfway, just going to do some forward bends and some shoulder stuff. So making sure that you're nice and comfortable on your sit bones, taking flesh away. If you are a sacrum sitter, if you sit into your lower back, then maybe just wedge a cushion underneath your bottom, but no worries too much, just trying to get a nice long lower back. Bring your heels as wide as you need to, so hip width apart if you have no baby bump, or wider if you do, but nice and long through the back of the knees today, toes pointing up towards the face. Hands come onto the knees as you roll your shoulders up, back and down, lifting your chest. As you exhale, those shoulders stay moving back as you start to lean yourself forward. So the head comes in line with the spine. If you have the flexibility and you want to walk your hands down, do so onto the heel part of the foot. Just allowing your body to soften and reach forward. Again, it's more about the forward action today than the coming down. So allow the body to stretch as you breathe, but don't lose that stretch. Keep breathing to lift the heart. As you exhale, you're reaching forward rather than down. So nice big breaths in and out. And then as you next inhale, reach beyond the toes, come all the way up, and then as you exhale, bring your hands into prayer at heart. Again, another reset, shoulder roll up, back and down as you bring your legs into cross. So I'm just going to turn to face towards you now, just so you can see what I'm doing with shoulders. We're just going to take a couple of shoulder stretches. So taking your right arm across your body and bring your hand onto the head of your shoulder. So you're just going to ease yourself over into that stretch. As you do so, sometimes the shoulder comes in towards the jaw. See if you can soften that away as you breathe. So nice long stretches, wriggling the fingertips to make even more of a stretch if you can. Nice and open through the back edge of that shoulder. Big breaths in and out. And then you're going to slide your hand up towards the elbow as you lift your right hand up. Nice big stretch out through the tricep, and then those fingertips wriggle between your shoulder blades. So the elbow comes in towards the back of the head if you can. Nice big breaths in and out. And then this left hand comes diagonally out behind your left hip. From here, pushing down through those fingertips so you can create a really nice big arc through your spine as you lift the gaze in towards the top right corner of the room. Again, really big breaths in and out here, opening up the rib cage, really extending into the base of that shoulder line. Pushing down through those left fingertips to create that nice big lift. And then from here, sliding your hand up a little bit to cradle the back left side of your skull. And you're just going to let the right elbow fall as you look towards your left kneecap. So the right elbow is falling towards your right kneecap. Your left fingertips are still reaching behind you, and your gaze is over towards your left kneecap. Again, nice big breaths in and out here. Try not to pull the back of the head, the back of the neck. Just there to add a little bit of weight to increase that stretch just a little. So one more big breath in, And as you exhale, big sigh, and just let that hand fall and the head lift. So roll your shoulders up, back and down with the back of both hands onto your knees, palms open. Just close the eyes for a moment. Just notice the body breathing deeper. Again, just relaxing that space around the eyebrows, around the jaw for a moment. Noticing the size of the body, how that feels. And then one more big breath in. Again, that really big sigh. As you blink the eyelids open and take that left hand across the body. Again, right hand comes to cradle the back of that shoulder head. Just gently pull it open. Again, just finding length to that stretch, but trying not to lift the shoulder up, just keeping it nice and open. Wriggling the fingertips on that left hand to increase the stretch where you can. So a couple of breaths here, and then we're going to lift that hand so that you're sliding it to the back of the elbow, and the left hand is lifting all the way up, just a gentle tricep stretch before we bring that hand behind the back of the head. Again, we're just going to draw the elbow as tight in towards the back of the head as possible without it pushing the neck too far forward. And then we're going to drop those fingertips out and back in line with that right hip. So diagonally back from that right hip. From here, pushing into those right fingertips as you open the chest up and turn to look towards the top left corner of the room. Again, so it's a gentle arching of the spine. We're opening up through the shoulder. Breathing just that little bit deeper. Relaxing the eyebrows. Again, finding that length of breath, certainly the depth of the inhale breath. To utilise that space that we're creating. And then as you exhale, we're just going to keep the right hand where it is and slide the left hand just to cradle the back of the right side of the skull. As you do so, just let that left elbow drop and turn to look towards your right kneecap. Again, your left elbow is dropping towards your left kneecap. Just adding that little bit of weight to release any tension in the shoulder and in the neck. Again, keep those right fingertips active. So one more big breath in and out. And then as you breathe in, softening out through the mouth. So big breath out through the mouth. Let the hand fall, let the head lift. Backs of the hands onto the knees. Rolling shoulders up, back and down. Close the eyes down. Again, an extended breath here. So final big breath in. Big sigh out through the mouth. Grounding the body as you blink your eyelids open, maybe a shoulder roll again. And then we're going to move our attention to our hips. So we're going to take your, bear with me with my lefts and rights tonight. Take your right foot towards your left sit bone. So you're on the little toe edge side of your foot and it's over towards your left sit bone, but you're not sitting on your heel. And then you're going to bring your left foot over towards your right sit bone. So what we're trying to get is Gomukhasana legs, kneecap on top of kneecap, little toe sides of the feet on the floor. If that's totally impossible, try with a wedge underneath your hips first of all. And if that's still totally impossible and your knees are in your ears, then straighten your under leg. So that would be your right leg. Still kneecap on top of kneecap, and still little toe side of the foot in your top leg. So sitting as tall as you possibly can with as straight a spine as you possibly can. Flex your feet. So you're probably feeling a stretch around your glutes as it is. That's okay. Keep that lift in your chest. And as you exhale, we're going to keep moving that lift forward. Again, maybe if you have a really big baby bump, you want to take that stretch just a little bit higher. Maybe bring the fingertips behind to push yourself up away from that stretch, but you're still getting that glute stretch. Or if you want to, you can bring your hands forward, but again, don't lose that lift in the chest. So you're reaching your heart forward rather than down. Shoulders, again, are soft. Maybe you even want to close the eyes here just to find that length of breath. Concentrating on your inhale, visualizing it coming in through the nostrils, over into those hips, into those glutes. And then releasing with it any tension through your exhale breath. Again, we often suffer from sciatica, certainly if we've been sitting in the wrong position, if we're working from home, or perhaps, again, pregnancy has brought on a bout of sciatica. So just finding your breath here, really opening up into that stretch. One more big breath in. And then as you exhale, release the flex of those feet and just let the upper body hang over the legs. Again, perhaps if you're pregnant, bring your hands underneath your bump so you're cradling your bump. If not, you just let your elbows fall, head fall. Just allowing that passive stretch into the back body. And then very slowly rolling yourself up. Shoulder roll up, back and down. So we're going to come on to the other side. Again, on the other side, if you did both legs, if you can do the both legs on this side, if not, obviously replicate what you did on the other side. But little toe side of the feet should be flat on the floor. Kneecap should be roughly on top of kneecap, wherever the legs are. And then we're going to take a nice big breath in. As you exhale, flex those feet. Again, get that nice bit of tension so you can feel where you're stretching, mainly in that right glute. And then from here, either, again, fingertips behind, lifting yourself up and forward, or you can bring those hands forward, but still it's that same motion of lifting your heart over your knees, shoulders down. Closing the eyes down just to find that extension of breath. Again, it's really good to shut out background noise, sometimes shut out that visual stimulus, to concentrate on where the breath is moving through your body. And we can visualize the breath floating in through the nostrils and into that space to open up those muscles, relax out through those joints. So one more big breath in, and again, as you exhale, release the flex of the feet and just let the body hang wherever that means to you. Don't worry if you're still quite upright or if you have to cradle your bump. All is fine, just letting the back body open up passively. And then rolling your way up slowly and gently, one vertebra at a time, untangling those legs. Bring them down to straight, give them a little bit of a wiggle just to release the knees and the thighs and the hips. And then we're going to start to squeeze all the way down. So starting from the top of the thighs, squeezing, a nice big handful of squeeze, going all the way down, around the kneecaps, all the way through calf muscles, around the ankles, and then onto the feet, bend the knees wherever you need to, onto the toes, big toes, all the way through the little toes. And then we're going to do that 2 more times. So squeezing all the way up through the top part of your thighs, around your knees, around your calf muscles, around your shins, around your ankles, around your feet, and then around the toes. So one more time, squeezing your body. Again, this is good for placing you into your place and time, so good for your vestibular system. This promotes grounding and stability. So, last one. There, and then rolling those shoulders up, back and down. Again, shake the hands out now, and we're going to come down onto the backs. So again, if you are heavily pregnant and you don't want to rest on your back, come down onto your left hand side. We're going to take our time to get there, so again, if you want to, you can hold yourself on the way down, or you can just make your way down whenever you're ready. Bring your feet onto the floor, wriggle your toes, push down through the whole of those feet so you can feel the feet being grounded, and then you're going to reach those arms forward, lift the chest with it. Shoulders come down, palms are facing the ceiling, and we're going to create a nice tall back body. So again, if you are pregnant, I wouldn't suggest doing these, just come to hold your hands underneath your legs. If you want to, as you exhale, we're going to keep that chest lifted. You'll get to about here and your sacrum will want to go ugh and sink. If you can, keep hold of that lift, keep hold of that straight back body until your fingertips are around about knee level. Shoulders come down, head just bobs from left to right just to release any tension through your neck. Big breath in, big sigh out. One more big breath in, one more big sigh out. And as you inhale, still with the straight body, slowly and gently lift yourself up with that straight back. Turn to face the palms towards each other, tuck your head and start to round your way down now. Again, if you're pregnant, just bring your hands underneath your thighs if it feels okay. If not, no worries, just come to relax, rolling yourself down. And then when you're ready, coming all the way down again, maybe that means you bring your hands down, maybe not. Coming to relax on the floor. So bring the knees up, tuck your tailbone under and roll the back body down. So you've got a nice long back body. Knock your knees over to the right, hands just on your belly. Roll the left shoulder up, back and down. If you want to increase your stretch, right ankle comes on the left knee. Again, nice long breaths in and out here. Relaxing into that passive stretch. So there shouldn't be too much tension in the body, everything should be relaxing away. Softening out through the edges. And then unhook the foot if you have it. Place the foot down, mat width apart. Come back into the centre. Again, we're going to tuck the tailbone. Roll it underneath, knock the knees over to the left, turn to look towards the right, and then only if you want to, left foot, left ankle on top of the right knee. Again, big breaths in and out. Just softening out through those muscles along the right hand side. And then when you're ready again, unhook that foot if it's not already, knees up, tuck your tailbone under, roll your body down. And your choice if you want to rest with those knees together, hands onto your belly, that is all good. If you want to rest in the other direction, feet together, knees open wide, that is all good. Again, if you are heavily pregnant, left hand side please, or if you want to, full shavasana. So wherever you are, take a moment now to close your eyes down and make any of those final adjustments that you need to make your body feel super relaxed. No tension through those legs, falling heavy into the floor. Back of the hips softening and relaxing. No tension through the back. Shoulders melting heavy into the earth. Arms relaxed beside the body, palms soft, fingertips light. Jaw is soft, eyebrows are relaxed. Coming to rest the awareness on your third eye. Letting everything else fall away through the floor. Starting to wriggle fingers and toes, rolling through wrists and ankles. Taking a full body stretch as you breathe in. Big super soft sigh. Unless you're already on your left, roll over to your right. Still, if you can, with eyes closed, taking a moment to acknowledge your body. And then only when you're ready, again still with eyes closed, coming up to that comfortable cross-legged seat. Facing back to the hands onto the knees, palms facing open, fingertips lightly curling back towards them. And as always, as we take those deeper breaths into the belly, give yourself this time to acknowledge your space on the mat, acknowledge your practice this evening. Notice your body, notice your breath, notice the quality of your thoughts, the stillness of your mind. See if we can bring all of these elements away with us off the mat. And then bring those hands together, rubbing them to gently warm them. Placing those hands as cups over the eyes, a small massage today around the eye sockets before we blink them open, and then bring those hands into prayer. Namaste everybody. Thank you very, very much for joining me on the mat this evening for our grounding practice. I hope you enjoyed it. As always, if you did, please do give me a little thumbs up below and a comment if you have time. And always share with whoever you think might need a little bit of grounding yoga in their lives, who doesn't have. And any donations, again, as always, are really, really appreciated. And thank you so much to all of you who have donated since this crazy time has begun. You've been wonderful saviours. Okay, I think that's it. Thank you very much and have a lovely rest of your evening, and hopefully I will see you either Wednesday evening or Friday morning on the mat. Oh, Friday morning's practice is changing slightly to 9:30, so hopefully that will suit you guys, yeah, hopefully see you nice and bright and early, or again on Wednesday evening for our dynamic practice at 7:45 p.m. Have a lovely rest of your evening and I'll see you soon. Namaste.